What is a final walkthrough and what am I supposed to do at one? Today I'm going to tell you.
You better get fired up!
Alright, so the final walkthrough is the best part for a first-time home buyer. Well, it's the second best part, right? The closing is the best part. So when you're going through a final walkthrough, what it is it's your last chance as a buyer to walk through, usually either the day before or the morning of closing, and see if everything is where it's supposed to be and in the condition it's supposed to be in, right? So today I'm going to give you the big 3 things that I think you need to look for. You need to think about while you're doing that final walkthrough. Alright, so the first one is easy, right? It's pretty blatant. You want to make sure that everything in that purchase agreement, hopefully in writing, is actually in the house, right? So I'm talking about appliances, furniture, whatever it is you guys agreed to in the purchase agreement, make sure it's still there. And let me go a step ahead, right? A step above, and actually give you some great advice from a past transaction that we almost got our butts whooped on, but luckily we put in a little bit of insurance, right? So here it was. We had a great refrigerator in the house. Luckily, I wrote down the make, model, and the serial number on the purchase agreement, right? A lot of agents don't do that. It's going above and beyond, but luckily I did in this scenario. We ended up getting the final walkthrough, right, the day before closing. We're going through and they had taken out the nice, valuable refrigerator and they had put in the 1973 piece of junk Frigidaire, and they thought they could get away with that. They could have possibly, had I not written in the specific refrigerator that they were going to get. But luckily, when we were there, I said, hey, listen, purchase agreement says we've got this make and model, this year, this serial number, so you better deliver. He had to bring the refrigerator back, take out that piece of junk, and my clients ended up getting the refrigerator. So make sure that, hey, in the beginning, you write up a purchase agreement with the serial number, make, and model. And number 2, you want to make sure that you're checking to make sure that all the stuff in the purchase agreement is actually there. Alright guys, if you're loving the information coming at you, please go check out my Facebook page, or look at this Instagram handle right here. I put a stat of the day on here every single day so you can check it out and fill that brain. Alright guys, number 2, you want to come through and you want to make sure that the home itself is in the same condition or better than when you wrote the purchase agreement, alright? So if you're walking to a house that's a little bit beat up when you're putting that offer together and you didn't ask them to do anything to make it better in the purchase agreement, again in writing, then that's what you can expect at closing, right? Or at the final walkthrough. But if you're walking through a beautiful, pristine home, great paint, great trim, great flooring, and then you walk in maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks later, it's final walkthrough, and you see that the paint has a bunch of dings in it, right? Maybe a trim board is removed an inch from the wall. There's a tile on the floor that's cracked and it wasn't cracked. You had an inspection, it didn't mention anything about cracked tile. You can come back and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I need this to be fixed before we close. There are a load of remedies that your realtor can go over with you. You might have to move closing. You might have to negotiate a couple different things. Maybe they can give you credits. They can put money into escrow. There are a lot of things you can do, but you want to know what your options are before you just sign the paper at closing, all right? All right, and this one can get kind of confusing sometimes, but number 3 is also a biggie, okay? As much as you want to make sure that that fridge is staying there, the right fridge, you also want to make sure that they're not leaving a lot of their junk there. So go through the house. At this point in time, they should have everything or almost everything out of the house. You should know exactly what you're getting. It should be literally what was on the purchase agreement, nothing more. And it's up to you, right? Maybe they were nice and they left some paint behind that matches their kitchen or matches their living room, and they're leaving it for touch-ups. If you want that there, not a big problem, right? As long as it's communicated. They might have done that with some other things too, and you're okay with it. But sometimes people leave things that you don't want. It wasn't communicated. Maybe it's a bunch of garbage. All right, you have the 100% right to go back to them and ask them to take that stuff out of there before you sign on those closing papers. Again, there are loads of remedies that you can look at. Your realtor will go over those with you, but just know you do not have to close on that home unless all of that stuff is out of the home. All right, guys, those are the 3 big things that I want you to do the next time you're doing your final walkthrough. please go down and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And again, if you love me, go up and check out that Facebook page and the Instagram handle. Thanks, guys, and you stay fired up.